Buckle up your seatbelts and adjust your popcorn trays because we're about to dive into 10 movies that'll make your heart race and your funny bone ache with laughter. Stick around until the end and you won't regret it. Ready to discover movies so timelessly cool that you'll wonder how you ever lived without them? If you haven't already smashed that like button, commented, and subscribed, now's the moment to rectify that tragic oversight. You wouldn't want to miss out on the cinematic buffet we're about to serve. A feast of brilliance, quirkiness, and jaw-dropping originality straight from the groovy 1960s. Alright folks, let's kick things off with Cool Hand Luke, a gritty masterpiece set in a hellhole of a southern prison camp. Paul Newman, with eyes colder than a winter in Alaska, stars as Lucas Jackson, the ultimate anti-establishment hero who refuses to break even under the thumb of authority. It's a film with unforgettable lines like, "What we've got here is a failure to communicate," a quote so iconic it became a pop culture mainstay. But it's not just about rebellion, it's about resilience, camaraderie, and Paul Newman's effortlessly cool glare. Watching Newman in this role feels like observing a human sculpture of integrity and stubbornness. Plus, it'll make you rethink your relationship with authority figures, prisons, and egg-eating contests. Next up is Cape Fear, not the Scorsese version you might know, but the terrifyingly intense original. Robert Mitchum plays Max Cady, a predator so menacingly charismatic, you'll find yourself questioning your own sanity. This is a thrilling mix of terror, charm, and psychological games. Cady's calculated threats and Gregory Peck's moral steeliness create an atmosphere of relentless dread. This is an expert showcase in tension. The suspense grips tighter than a seatbelt on a roller coaster's steepest drop. Seriously, the way Cady torments his victims with psychological and emotional warfare will leave you shaken. This is the crown jewel of twisted sibling dynamics. Bette Davis and Joan Crawford play the roles of baby Jane Hudson and Blanche Hudson, sisters locked in a battle of dysfunction and psychological conflict. The old Hollywood glam icons sink into roles that expose their darker, more desperate sides. Baby Jane's shrill laughter and Blanche's helpless vulnerability unfold in a decaying mansion filled with cobwebs, broken dreams, and warped familial love. It's a grotesque yet oddly mesmerizing stir of camp, horror, and drama. Watching Bette Davis serve up madness with a side of schadenfreude is like observing a train wreck where you just can't look away. Now, let's lighten the mood with The Nutty Professor. No, not that Eddie Murphy remake nonsense. We're talking about the original. Jerry Lewis, a comedic genius and a man who could make physical comedy look like a form of high art, plays Professor Julius Kelp, a socially awkward chemist whose experiments result in a bizarrely transformative alter ego. He turns into Buddy Love, a cool, suave alter ego with devilish charm. This transformation is funny brilliance. Watching Jerry Lewis juggle science, love, and self-esteem is a delightful blend of slapstick, heart, and surprisingly insightful psychology. Plus, it'll teach you that sometimes, being awkward is the ultimate form of cool. Let's talk about The Haunting. This isn't your typical jump-scare horror, it's a mindful work of atmosphere and mood. Robert Wise directs with a restraint that builds suspense one creaky floorboard at a time. The eerie mansion, Hill House, becomes a character in itself, a dark, brooding force that seems to come alive with every unsettling noise and shadow. Psychological horror enthusiasts will find much to love here: the slow disentanglement of reality, the visual chills, and the unsettling examination of what is real and what is just a figment of a paranoid mind. It'll leave you questioning your own house noises. Spies, betrayal, and a British accent sharper than your kitchen knives. Welcome to The Spy Who Came In From the Cold. This grainy Cold War spy drama dismantles the glamorous spy tropes into raw, gritty reality. Richard Burton plays a disillusioned spy caught in a web of deceit and double-crossing schemes. This is no James Bond glitz, it's cold streets, grimy alleyways, and moral ambiguity. Burton's performance brings an authenticity that feels like an emotional gut punch. It's an espionage experience that doesn't just thrill, it mentally shakes you down until you're left wondering about how far someone will go in the name of patriotism. Grab your cowboy hat because it's time to ride the trails with Ride the High Country. Sam Peckinpah delivers a western with substance, a reflection on age, friendship, and the moral choices of men who've lived too long and loved too little. Randolph Scott and Joel McCrea deliver performances that reflect the decaying Old West but with the resilience of a soul that refuses to quit. The landscapes are vast, the atmosphere dusty, and the plot is a slow unraveling of loyalty and betrayal. It's Western grit at its most mature, a meditation on redemption and unyielding of the American spirit. In The Pawnbroker, Sidney Lumet delivers a heart-wrenching film. Rod Steiger plays a Holocaust survivor turned pawnbroker, navigating the harsh streets of Harlem. It's an investigation of grief, survival, and the struggle to maintain humanity amidst overwhelming desolation. The streets are unforgiving, the deals are bleak, and every interaction is a brutal reflection of resistance and moral compromise. A character study, and a social and emotional exploration of trauma, loss, and the search for inner peace. It's a movie that hits hard and leaves you with a deeper understanding of humanity. Time to lighten things up with Hatari, a quirky, entertaining safari adventure with John Wayne. In Hatari, you'll find a group of wildlife catchers in Africa managing rhinos and leopards instead of business deals. It's a wild mingle of camaraderie, daring escapades, and breathtaking scenery. The combination of adventure, humor, and friendship creates a uniquely entertaining experience. The movie highlights the complex relationship humans have with nature with spectacular cinematography that showcases Africa's beauty. It's escapism with a heart and a message about respect, coexistence, and the adventurous spirit. We wrap up with the experimental Alphaville. Godard blends science fiction, film noir, and existential despair into a dazzlingly surreal cinematic experience. Set in a dystopian city controlled by an all-powerful computer, Alphaville questions reality, love, and free will. Eddie Constantine's character must navigate a landscape of mind games, surreal visuals, and inquiries about technology's dominance. It's a cult classic that pushes the boundaries of storytelling and style. A cerebral, visually arresting masterwork that feels like a glitch in the world itself. That was a cinematic ride through 10 unforgettable gems of the 1960s. Each movie brings its own twist, intrigue, and mind-blowing originality. Got a favorite 60s classic we missed? Drop your suggestions in the comments. We absolutely love exploring movies with fellow cinema lovers. And don't forget to check out our carefully curated movie playlists. Whether you love thrilling espionage, heartwarming westerns, or bizarre adventures, we've got playlists that'll blow your mind. Hit like, comment, and subscribe, and let's keep exploring movies together, because every good movie buff knows the adventure never ends.
Never! Never! What we've got here is failure to communicate.